Hi, everybody. Today we are going to talk about menstrual irregularities. And obviously, for starters, you're only going to be experiencing menstrual irregularities during perimenopause because once you've hit menopause, there is no more menstruation. So this really ends up being one of the greatest challenges of perimenopause, and it can really throw you for one. We understand from personal experience, you may not have gotten a period for 3 months and live on the edge of wondering if it's going to surprise you right after you put on your spring white jeans, or the number of days between each period may be getting shorter so that you have a period every 25 days or every 20 days or every 15 days. It really varies from person to person. You may have a bleed that lasts a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks sometimes, especially the closer you get to menopause. So your period may be lighter, it may be overwhelmingly heavy. Some of us on day one of our periods have to change our tampon every hour and wear a pad. So believe it or not, all of this is normal. It's your ovaries' last attempt at making things happen. And it can be really, really difficult. So what is happening is the progesterone that is building up in the lining of the uterus, and the progesterone falling is what triggers our period. So when the progesterone falls, we experience PMS on our most sensitive days. So in perimenopause, progesterone declines, and for some people that can feel like we're spending a lot more time with PMS. And because low progesterone is associated with high stress, stress can also create a cascade of events that results in more cortisol and less progesterone, which means that there's less progesterone to regulate our cycle. So in other words, higher stress directly causes more PMS and perimenopausal symptoms. And low progesterone and more challenging symptoms can also result from low-fat diets, from low-calorie diets, and from excess exercise. So it's good to try to figure out what makes your symptoms the least based on food, exercise, etc. So if you have been bleeding for longer than 3 to 4 weeks and the flow is pretty heavy, we suggest focusing on adding iron-rich foods, and those would include shellfish, cooked spinach, beans, molasses, pumpkin seeds, and really taking those iron-rich foods with a source of vitamin C for best absorption. And so foods with vitamin C might include broccoli, Brussels sprouts, citrus, peppers, strawberries. And then again, if your bleeding has just been really heavy and for a long time, consider making an appointment with your practitioner. So the beauty of this perimenopausal time is that you are moving towards an era when you have no more period. And having no period is really freeing. It's a great idea. It's a great metaphor for the larger idea of what's happening to you. So you're leaving behind an era that requires such attention to detail. And you're moving into a time when you can focus more on your wishes and desires. You can be more creative. You're free of some of the things that have held you back in the past, and you have space. So there's a lot of ways to reframe this moment. So in terms of individuality, while we reframe this challenging time of period and hot flash unpredictability as the beginning of the end of your menstruation, we do want to take a moment to acknowledge its true challenge. The uncertainty is really hard for cisgendered females who can walk into the office bathroom and grab a tampon. But it can be harder still for those of us who are gender nonconforming. Same thing with hot flashes. It's bad enough to be removing layers of clothes when people are looking at you and thinking, oh, menopause. But it can be even harder if we're non-binary and wearing a suit. So it's a good moment to remember that we never know what another person is going through and where the grumpy mood may be coming from. So we're sending you a virtual hug and wish for kindness to one another across the globe, for whatever each other is going through, because it can be really hard and it can be really hidden within us. So we have a few ideas to help with menstrual irregularities. One of our favorites is Vitex, which is also a name for chasteberry. In the early perimenopausal years of menstrual irregularities, there's really nothing like chasteberries for balancing the cycles. And it's one of Eliza's favorites that she introduced me to really early on. So chasteberry increases the production of our progesterone. So it also increases the production of dopamine, which is one of our happy hormones. Chasteberry nourishes the pituitary gland and regulates the menstrual cycle and reduces our symptoms of PMS, cramps, moodiness, anxiety, and breast tenderness. So it's been shown to lessen the challenges of PMS by 50% in 3 months. So it can be taken as an extract capsule, as a liquid, or in powder form in your smoothie. In the email, there is a list of chasteberry products that we like a lot. Another product that we like, or ingredient, herb, is angelica, which is also called dong kai. Angelica is full of phytoestrogens also, and they increase energy and a woman's sense of well-being. It's used for missed and irregular periods, as well as for heavy menstrual bleeding. Turmeric is another incredible plant. So the main active component of turmeric is called curcumin, and it's a polyphenol that's used to soothe menstrual difficulties, especially pain and bloating. So the breakdown of curcumin's components showed that it can be equally or more effective than ibuprofen as an anti-inflammatory. So consuming turmeric with substantial amounts of black pepper and a healthy fat like coconut or almond milk or coconut oil or peanut butter can really improve its bioavailability within the body, as it's not well absorbed otherwise. So in our smoothie, we add fresh turmeric and a grind of pepper and a nut butter. And that will really help its bioavailability. So turmeric can be added into your morning smoothie either by freezing it and then chopping it up, or you can pre-chop it and freeze it, which is really great. You can also put it in soups and curries. You can add it to your rice. There are a lot of great ways to eat turmeric. Acupuncture. Modern research has shown that acupuncture can help relieve menstrual cramps and excess bleeding, as well as hot flashes and the emotional challenges of PMS, of perimenopause, and of menopause. So many acupuncturists have subspecialties in women's health, so it's worth asking around in your community. So we have a few other ideas about dealing with an irregular period. There's a great product of period underwear that's called Thinx, if you haven't seen it before. So we often wear Thinx on the day our period is supposed to begin and on the last day of our period, when the flow is light enough that you don't need a tampon, but you don't want to keep adding more cotton pads to the landfill. So also, if you have really heavy periods, it's a good backup to a tampon. Another thing that's great is a period app. We really like one called PC, which is also called Period Calendar, which is a free app that tracks the duration of your period and also allows you to fill in other symptoms you may be experiencing to help you track them and anticipate when it's coming, especially during the really unpredictable period where you might miss a few months towards the end of your period. And then finally, in closing, in celebration, we just wanted to make a note to state the obvious and the often underappreciated. Isn't it simply incredible that we women around the world start our periods in our early teens or before and continue them through at least our 40s, and every month we have to deal with a steady stream of blood flowing out of us and the subsequent iron lows, cramps, headaches, and we just deal. Seriously, ladies, we're amazing. And no wonder women have such high levels of multitasking, executive functioning, and empathy towards others. Basically, we're just trying to say we think you're really kick-ass. So that's it for today, and we hope you're well.